military convoys heading towards Kiev. The latest videos that we're getting to you right now on the broadcast. Now let's just take a look at this latest video released by the Russian government as well. But before that, we have the sanctions here. Well, New Zealand has imposed sanctions on more than 100 Russian politicians, businessmen and their relatives. That's the latest news break that we're getting to, that New Zealand joining the list of countries to impose sanctions against the Russian businessmen and oligarchs. New Zealand imposing sanctions on more than 100 Russian politicians, businessmen and their relatives.
This week, the government will introduce Russia's Sanctions Bill, a bespoke piece of legislation in direct response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. A bill of this nature has never been brought before our parliament, but it is essential given Russia's vetoing of sanctions through the UN. The bill will allow for new sanctions to be applied. Those sanctions can be imposed on people, companies, services and assets related to those in Russia who are responsible for or associated with the invasion. It will target those of economic or strategic relevance to Russia, including oligarchs. A public sanctions register will be set up to list every individual, entity, asset or service that is sanctioned. The sanctions will freeze assets located in New Zealand. It will also prevent those who are sanctioned from moving assets to New Zealand or using our financial system as a backdoor to get around sanctions increasingly imposed by other countries.
In the wee hours of March 4th, Russia launched airstrikes on Europe's largest nuclear plant. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant sparking massive fears of a disaster that could affect all of Central Europe for decades, like the 1986 Chernobyl meltdown. And in the backdrop of the attack, an 11-year-old Ukrainian refugee made it all the way to Slovakia from the city of Zaporizhzhia, the site of Ukraine's largest nuclear power plant, which now stands captured by Russian forces. The young boy's frightened mother sent him on a 1,000-kilometer journey alone by train to find his relatives. She stayed behind to care for her sick mother, who cannot be moved. The 11-year-old commenced on the journey with only a plastic bag, passport and a telephone number written on his hand all alone. Well, the 11-year-old was taken in care of volunteers who provided him warm shelter. Thanking the Slovakian government, his mother, still stuck in Ukraine, made a desperate plea to save the Ukrainian children. Agency report for Republic TV.